We're in Lovell Canyon today, outside of Las Vegas, and you're looking at the Mount Charleston Wilderness, Griffith Peak, and panning around, here's my landmark ridge that's going to show me the way back to where I started. I'll tell you where I'm going in just a bit. There's Potosi Mountain, Lovell Canyon Road, and then back to where we are. Okay, what we're going to do is fill in a missing link on the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline. And we're going to make a big circuit. We're going to go up Lovell Canyon Road and then find a ridge, land on the Upper Crest Ridgeline around the Juniper Peak area, and then we're going to head south to Mount Wilson and then turn back down and come out. If everything works like planned, we're going to come out on a road called Saltgrass Road. I'll get the number of that road in a minute, but it's right where you see the campground here. It's one of the roads in Lovell Canyon that all the way up the road, it goes from Lovell Canyon Road all the way up to the base of the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline. And all along these roads, another one is Rainbow Spring Road. All along these roads there are camping spots. They're all self-serve and there are no amenities. I think you can stay 2 weeks and you don't need a reservation. That's about all I know about the camping in Lovell Canyon, but it is a tremendously beautiful place. Anyway, we're going to come down Saltgrass Road, come out just a little beyond this point. Again, if everything works out according to plan, and we'll end up back at the Beast at the end of the day. So let's see what happens. Here we go. And just for the record, Saltgrass Road is 537A. Okay, we're a little further up Lovell Canyon Road, and let's get the lay of the land here. Lovell Canyon is like a car camper's dream. There are so many spots up and down along Lovell Canyon Road, and then on the tributary roads. It's just amazing. And Lovell Canyon is bordered on the north side by the Mount Charleston Wilderness, and there you see Charleston Peak should be right in this area. I think it may be a little further than what you're seeing. Here's Griffith Peak and Harris Mountain. In between them is Mummy Mountain. So there you get an idea of the northern side of Lovell Canyon. Now let's take a look at the eastern side. Lovell Canyon is bordered by the Rainbow Mountains. And this is a range that goes all the way from Willow Spring in Red Rock Canyon all the way down south to Potosi Mountain, which is the southern border of Lovell Canyon. And then here, of course, is our landmark ridge. And when I'm out in the wilderness, I always like to have a really distinctive landmark to shoot for on the return trip. because I don't know if I'm going to be on trails when I come down out of the mountains. All I may have is the landmarks. And you see, here's a little camp spot right here. Anyway, on the eastern side of Lovell Canyon, as I mentioned, it's bordered by the Rainbow Mountains, and there is a ridge line above the Rainbow Mountains that's called the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline, and you're looking at that right now. This is the ridgeline I've been piecing together, and today will be one of the final pieces of this ridgeline. You can go all the way from Willow Spring in Red Rock Canyon all the way south to Potosi Mountain. There is a faint trail, and the one section that I have not completed is between Juniper Peak and Mount Wilson, and the ridgeline skirts just above those Rainbow Mountains, the popular mountains that you know of if you've been to Red Rock Canyon. Those mountains include Bridge Mountain, Juniper Peak, Rainbow Mountain, Mount Wilson, Indecision Peak, and then on south to Hidden Peak, Monument Peak, Black Velvet Peak, Windy Peak, and Hollow Rock Peak and South Peak. Those are all the peaks in the Rainbow Mountains, and the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline, which I'm panning back and forth, is the ridgeline above those mountains. And my goal is to first traverse the entire ridgeline, today being one of the last missing links, and then go back along the ridgeline and descend to all the peaks that I just mentioned. Now, of course, you could have two cars and traverse the entire Upper Crest Ridgeline. Park one at Willow Spring in Red Rock Canyon and the other at Mountain Spring on Highway 160, traverse the entire Upper Crest Ridgeline. I'm doing it with one car, which means that I need to do it in sections, which also means that I need as many access points as possible. Of course, you can access the Upper Crest Ridgeline at Willow Spring, Rocky Gap Road on the northern end, and then at the Mountain Spring trailhead on the southern end. That's fine, but hey, I need more access points. So what I've done so far, I've added 2 additional access points. And by the way, the mid access points are all on the west side here of the Rainbow Mountains from Lovell Canyon, because if you try the access points, which I have from the east side in Red Rock Canyon, you're spending a whole lot of time in canyons with boulders, ledges, brush. It's very difficult and a lot of vertical stuff. Here, as you can see, the inclines are much more gentle, so the mid ridgeline access points are really from Lovell Canyon. The one on Rainbow Spring Road off of Lovell Canyon Road will take you up to Hidden Peak and also Little Zion. I've got a page on that in LasVegasAreaTrails.com. The one on Saltgrass Road, which we just showed you the number of Saltgrass Road, that'll take you up to above Mount Wilson. And this access that I'm going to take today hopefully will take me up above Juniper Peak. We don't know. Never tried it before. But then again, every experience on Las Vegas area trails is a first. So you get the experience that you'll probably have when you do this for the first time. A little more experimentation than if you had done it over and over again and you knew the exact route, but also the excitement of experiencing a place for the first time, and the wilderness navigation, piecing together routes that you've never been on before, and navigating by large landmarks. Okay, onward. Okay, here's another higher perspective on Lovell Canyon Road. We can point out a few things. Yeah, we've looked at the Mount Charleston Wilderness on the north end, and you can see Griffith Peak, Harris Mountain. And now you can see more of the western end of Lovell Canyon. There's our landmark bluff, very distinctive. Another landmark is Potosi Mountain, and you're looking down Lovell Canyon Road now, south. You always think north is up and south is down. I don't know where we got that idea. Okay, anyway, yeah, here is the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline. We're heading for, you can see camping areas continue along the road here. How would you like to spend a couple weeks looking at all these views? Camped out in this area. Awesome. No reservations, no fee. Anyway, okay. So what we're going to do is, I believe we're going to head over to this area and climb some ridges and look for the Upper Crest Ridgeline. But I don't know for sure yet. The road that we're looking for is 548, spins off to the east or right, and we'll just see what things look like up there. So for now, continuing up Lovell Canyon Road. Looking for road 548. Okay, we're at a high point on Lovell Canyon Road, and I just wanted to point out a few things where you'll find adventures on Las Vegas area trails. And there is Griffith Peak. Definitely we have an adventure up to Griffith Peak from Kyle Canyon, the most traditional way of ascending Griffith Peak. But notice that ridge below Griffith Peak on the on one side of Lovell Canyon. Guess it would be the west side. That is Sexton Ridge, and that is my nemesis. I've tried to go from Lovell Canyon Trailhead up to Sexton Ridge to Griffith Peak a number of times and just lose steam, because it's like 6,000 feet elevation gain and all wilderness. I've made it close, but not all the way up. So that's on the west side of Lovell Canyon. Now, you look across this saddle, there's the Griffith Harris saddle, and right in the middle, in the distance, is Mummy Mountain. But what I want to show you especially, there's Harris Mountain. And you see that ridge going up to Harris Mountain. And this is on the east side of Lovell Canyon. That's called the Wilson Ridge. And soon, maybe even next week, we'll be going up Wilson Ridge up to Harris Mountain. So that gives you an idea of things to come. And then, of course, panning around. Now we're looking at the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline. And somewhere in this area, I'll be taking a ridge to summit that ridgeline and head from, land around Juniper Peak, head from Juniper Peak to Mount Wilson, and then head back down Saltgrass Road to Lovell Canyon Road where we began. And here is another beautiful view of the southern part of Lovell Canyon, the lower area. And here you see Potosi Mountain. And then of course our landmark bluff, you can see why it's the landmark bluff. You can see it from a whole lot of different places, very distinctive. That gets me back home. Okay, onward. Okay, another look at those two ridges I was talking about. There's Griffith Peak, and you can see leading up to Griffith Peak, Sexton Ridge. And then across Lovell Canyon, there's Harris Mountain. And leading up to Harris Mountain is the Wilson Ridge. And wouldn't it be a great circuit to go up the Wilson Ridge to Harris Mountain, then take the Griffith-Harris saddle to Griffith, and then down Sexton Ridge. I want to try that, but I don't know if I've got enough energy to do that. We'll see. We're actually at Road 548, which is where we split off from Lovell Canyon Road. And the reason I pointed in that direction toward the ridgeline is that that is the area we are shooting for. But yeah, here's Lovell Canyon Road, and here is 548. And by the way, we go by the last three numbers of these roads. So there you have it. And now up Road 548. Okay, I'm on Road 548, and no, it was not Road 548. So I need to retrace my way back to Lovell Canyon Road, continue down into this area below, and you can see Lovell Canyon Road continuing. And then I need to head for this ridgeline, which is going to be my route up to the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline. So there's the approach ridge. So let's get back to Lovell Canyon Road below us here and continue downward, and then make our way over to that ridgeline. Okay, a little lower on Lovell Canyon Road. Now I'm confronted with a number of ridges that all look promising, but I know some are dead ends. So the question is, which ridge is going to get me all the way up to the Upper Crest Ridgeline? And wow, I'm thinking maybe something in this direction. So, and I guess I could access it from over here. I just don't want to have to cross a canyon up ahead. So, yeah, I think I need to be going right up this ridge and continue upward. So let's just see about getting over there to make that ascent. On the other hand, this ridge line over here looks promising. Looks like it's going to get me pretty much to the same point, only more gradually, at least from where I stand. So let's try this ridge line. Get up to that point, and then certainly we'll be able to look around and see if we're at a dead end or if we can see the Upper Crest Ridgeline and an access. Okay, so far this ridge is doing the trick. It's getting me upward. Now, if I had taken Road 548, I'd be on the opposite side of this canyon on a ridge. And you can see, there's my landmark bluff. And Potosi Mountain, all the familiar landmarks. Here's Lovell Canyon Road below us. You can see the ridge that I've ascended. I ascended from right about down in this area on the road. And then looking off in this direction, there's the Mount Charleston Wilderness with Griffith Peak, Mummy Mountain in the center, Griffith Peak to the left, Mummy Mountain in the center, Harris Mountain on the right. And so where we are now is just a series of ridges, and the question is going to be what ridge system is going to lead us up to the Upper Crest Ridgeline for the Rainbow Mountains. And either we're going to wind our way upward and we're going to make it, or we're going to hit a dead end and we picked the wrong ridge. So let's continue up and see what happens. Okay, we're hitting more limestone now, which means sea fossils. And take a look at this. Who knows, 450 million years ago, these little guys could have been in an ocean. Some of them almost look like sea anemones. They were attached to these rocks at the bottom of an ocean. But yeah, they're all around, everywhere I look. And the cool thing about this area is nobody goes here. So nothing's been disturbed. Nobody has taken anything. It's all here. Okay, onward up. I want to see what the world looks like at the top of this ridge. Looking around, you can see where we've made a lot of elevation gain from Lovell Canyon Road. And I still got my references. There's the Mount Charleston Wilderness. Hopefully these clouds aren't going to get more thick. And looking over this way, here's the landmark bluff and Potosi Mountain. So, yeah, we haven't gotten really far yet, but at least we're heading upward, and hopefully I can keep winding my way upward to the Upper Crest Ridgeline and not hit a dead end. We'll find out. Okay, continuing to ascend, and the question is, are we looking at a portion of the Upper Crest Ridgeline? We don't know till we get there, and hopefully we can wind our way up in that direction. But things keep ascending, and that looks good. There's a canyon below us, and I understand from one of my video viewers that there are bees and barriers, rocks, ledges down in that canyon. A lot of brush, a spring. Yeah, not a very friendly place. On the other hand, this ridge so far has been awesome. I've had to step over and around bushes here, sage I believe, but wow, it's been much easier than being down in a canyon, but it could lead to a dead end. We don't know. So continuing on upward. By the way, yeah, just to get the perspective of where we are, there is the Mount Charleston Wilderness and Lovell Canyon Road. Way below. And what else? Well, there's a lot in the haze there. That's looking west. But here's our landmark ridge. Well, I call it the landmark ridge. You can see it almost everywhere. And there's Potosi Mountain. So, yeah, had I continued on that other ridge that started at Road 548, I would be on the other side of this canyon. And that might not have been a bad thing so far. So we'll keep checking this out. The jury's not out on which ridge is the best. We'll find out. As you can see, the terrain is changing here. It's looking a lot more like we're getting close to the ridge line, and I'm going to make a wild guess that that is the ridge line. And that is the ridge line. And we'll just do a quick 360. If this actually does wind up to the ridge line, then this will be the easiest ridgeline approach, Rainbow Mountain's Upper Crest Ridgeline, that I've ever done, because it's nice and steady. I'm still wondering if one of these high points up ahead is going to be a dead end. We don't know. So let's get up there and find out. And by the way, looking down to Lovell Canyon Road, that's about where we started up this ridge. And basically we've been winding our way upward on the ridge. Our other option would have been to take Road 548, then keep going straight up the ridge rather than turn where the road turns. That would have put us on this ridge, this opposite ridge, and that also doesn't look too bad. So we don't know. We'll see if our choice bears out, but I think either up to now either choice looks good. Where you might not want to be is down in the canyon below. You can't see anything down there, And there are a lot of obstacles. So at this point, it's a matter of picking your ridge. And we're trying this one, the north side of the canyon. Let's see how it does for us. Continuing upward, and it looks like every time I reach a high point, and there's the next one, but I reach the last one and I see this next high point. That's the way this ridge has been. It keeps going upward now. What happens when we get up to that point? We don't know. But let's continue on upward. And eventually what I'm thinking is that we may, if we can get a passage over to this area, I think we'd be on the Upper Crest Ridgeline. And then looking over this way, there's another section of the ridgeline. That may be the section above Mount Wilson. We don't know for sure. And then looking around for the larger view, you can see Potosi Mountain and our landmark bluff, Lovell Canyon below, and then over to the Mount Charleston Wilderness. And then on upward. So let's just see where this all leads. Should be very interesting. Maybe we get over that ridge up ahead and then descend to the Upper Crest Ridgeline. We don't know. And it looks like up here in the middle of nowhere, there was a fire at one time. You can see this whole tree has burned, and you can still see ashes all around. It's amazing what happens in the wilderness in places where nobody sees. Okay, onward. Well, as you can see, we're in a whole different zone up here. And I'm not sure this is the best ridge to approach the Upper Crest Ridgeline. Now there is one ridge south and one ridge north. This is our first look at the ridge south. And that looks pretty decent. Just a steady, gradual uphill. On the other hand, you can see what we're on here. And let's take a look at what we just crossed, which, yeah. There you go. So this is what we're dealing with up here. There's our landmark bluff down there. We know we need to head there to end. So yeah, the question is turn around and head down this ridge, or see if we can make it over to that ridge, which looks like a much more gradual downhill, but I don't think we're going to make it to the Upper Crest Ridgeline at this point. Let's ascend some of these rocks to get an idea of where we are, larger perspective. Now, I do believe the Upper Crest Ridgeline is over in this direction. And my guess is that that hill, that ridge, is on the Upper Crest Ridgeline, potentially somewhere If you're standing on it, you might be looking down on Mount Wilson. But wow, getting there from where we are here looks pretty difficult. Look at the rock formations though. Pretty interesting how the rocks are all slanted at 45 degrees. Maybe they were at one time on a seabed. Who knows? So yeah, this is what we're looking at. I'm not sure what we're going to do. See if we can get over to the other ridge and then head down that more gradual ridge, or just turn around and head down the ridge I came up. But I think we're about at the end of the line for now. So we'll just see where we end up. By the way, there's a shot of the Mount Charleston Wilderness, and you can see Mummy Mountain right between Harris Mountain on the right and Griffith Peak on the left. And just possibly Charleston Peak in the snow. Then down into Lovell Canyon. See Lovell Canyon Road below. Well, it looks like I'm not going to get over this wall. Definitely a barrier that extends on and on and on. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get over to the next ridge. I should have started one ridge south or one ridge north from this point. I think I picked the one ridge that has a dead end. So the only thing left is, there's not much to stand on here. The only thing left is to head back up to the center of this ridge and then down the way that I came. So this will pretty much just be an out and back, testing out one of the ridges in Lovell Canyon. There's another emerging shot of Griffith Peak. With Harris Mountain on the right. Wilson Ridge leading up to Harris Mountain. We are about 6,200 feet right now. So let's find a way back to Lovell Canyon Road and come back another day to try another one of these ridges. And the goal definitely is to find a ridge that's going to be the most direct way up to the Upper Crest Ridgeline above Juniper Peak, so we can continue that exploration of the Upper Crest Ridgeline from where we left off. At least we've ruled out the ridge I'm on. One ridge south, one ridge north. Maybe I'll try the north ridge next. Okay, onward. Yeah, this part of the ridge is pretty rugged, but very doable. It just ends at a dead end. So this is heading down, and that's what I just came over. Just to give you an idea where we are, heading down, heading back. Okay, in summary, looking for a ridge that will lead up to the Upper Crest Ridgeline around the Juniper Peak area. There are three choices. I chose the one that had the dead end. The first choice is from Road 458, which is this ridge right here. And that looks like a possibility. And it looked like a possibility from way up on the ridge that I chose. This is the ridge I chose. And it goes really well for a long ways, up to about 6,300 feet, which is very close to the Upper Crest Ridgeline, but then it's a dead end. Unless you're doing some rock climbing, which I don't do. And then there's one more ridge, which is just north of that middle ridge. And it's a ridge that it's hard to show here, but it's a ridge that ends up in this area and then hopefully could cross over to the Upper Crest Ridgeline. So yeah, there's a north ridge, a middle ridge, and a south ridge. I chose the middle ridge. It's a dead end. The south ridge starting at Road 458, and then when 458 turns, you just keep going straight up the ridge instead of turning with the road. That looks like a possibility. And then the south ridge looks like a possibility to get to the Upper Crest Ridgeline around Juniper Peak. But what does not look like a possibility is this middle ridge, unless you're a rock climber. Let's trace these three ridges one more time now that we're at a better perspective, and they're all in the sunlight. So there's a south ridge on the right, a middle ridge, and a north ridge. And you can see this canyon here. The south ridge is just to the right of that. And you access that by heading up Road 548 and then just keep going straight, even when the road turns. And it'll take you up here and continue along, and eventually you'll get to this high point, and you may be looking down on the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline at that point, or you may be looking across at it. So that's a good option. Then there's the canyon, and then a middle ridge, the one I took. Very beautiful ridge, but it ends in a pretty rugged way up in this area right here below that peak, and just to the left and below that peak. And it ends with, in fact, I think I got up to that peak. But the problem is that you're at a point where you either are doing some rock climbing or you're turning around, which is what I chose to do. And then just to the left of that, there is another ridge, and it's harder to see, but just realize to the left of that ridge, there's one more ridge, and it would lead up to this point. So we may try these ridges in the future. So that's pretty much today's exploration in Lovell Canyon.